My stepsister lied that I was a prostitute and addict out of jealousy. My dad and stepmom believed her, ruined my reputation, and kicked me out. It never occurred to me, 22 degrees Fahrenheit, that a single family vacation would ruin my relationship with my entire family, yet here we are. I was a junior in college, working part-time at a coffee shop, keeping my life together, and maintaining a 3.8 GPA in business administration when this catastrophe began. During what should have been a restful spring break in Florida, everything changed. In order to strengthen our relationship, my dad, $45 million, and stepmom, $42 million, thought it would be a great idea to share a room at the beach resort with my stepsister Lisa, $19 million. Although we weren't really adversaries, we had never been close. I was only there, but she was always their golden child. The neglected one who, for some reason, was never quite good enough. The initial days were awkwardly polite. By essentially acting as though the other person didn't exist, we were able to get along. It lasted until the third day, when I used her hairbrush without asking permission, causing things to blow up over something absurdly trivial. Lisa lost it instead of just warning me not to use it. She took my beauty bag and tossed it out the window on the 4th story. Almost everything I took for the trip, including my $200 foundation, broke on the concrete below. The true silent treatment started at that point. This was not your normal adolescent cold shoulder. Lisa refused to even acknowledge me when I was directly in front of her, acting as like I didn't exist. I didn't realize this was only the beginning. First, I thought, great, at least she's not destroying my stuff anymore. Things became strange back home. My stepmother and Lisa began having these lengthy, whispered chats that would inexplicably end as soon as I entered the room. Until I observed that my dad was also acting strangely, I didn't give it much thought. He would give me these expressions, which were more like disappointment than anger. Even dismayed. It made my skin crawl, although it was difficult to tell. My stepmother began to follow up with me all the time, asking strangely detailed questions about my whereabouts, the people I was meeting, and my payment methods. She would even phone my pals to confirm my location because the surveillance became that intense. My dad never knocked on my door before, but one night he entered my room and dropped a bombshell that turned everything upside down. He stood in my doorway like a judge and stated, "We need to talk about what you've been doing." Lisa filled us in on everything, the drugs, the prostitution, everything. It was so ridiculous that I actually laughed. Me? The girl who gets anxious if she is 5 minutes late to class and color codes her planner, a drug addict and prostitute. My dad wasn't laughing though. He thought she was real. In fact, he thought his workaholic, straight-A student daughter was secretly leading a parallel life. I attempted to clarify that Lisa was lying and that it was all untrue. I presented him with my bank statements, employment schedule, and attendance records for classes, all of which demonstrated that I was who I had always been. However, he became more irate the more proof I offered. Why would Lisa fabricate a story like this? He repeated himself. She is concerned for you? Everyone is concerned about you. After that, things quickly got out of hand. While I was in class, my stepmother began searching my room for proof. They questioned my pals, kept an eye on my bank account, and even made several calls to my place of employment to check on me. Without my knowledge, they downloaded a tracking program to my phone. I didn't know until my stepmother challenged me about taking a break from class to go to a coffee shop. When my dad insisted on seeing all of my emails and social media accounts, it was the tipping point. He threatened to cease paying my tuition and expel me if I didn't comply, saying they wanted to keep an eye on my conversations to make sure I wasn't seeing clients. It dawned on me then that they would never trust me over her. They saw me as already guilty. That night, I sobbed quietly in my room as I packed up the necessities, a few items of clothing, my laptop, some critical papers, and the emergency money I had been putting aside. I was previously allowed to crash on my buddy Sarah's couch. Lisa was watching me from the hallway as I was leaving. And what do you know? She had a sly smile. She was actually grinning, like if she had won a perverse game. It wasn't easy living at Sarah's. I was lying on a couch that felt like concrete in her already small apartment. To pay for necessities, I had to take on extra work at the coffee shop. My academic performance began to suffer. Maintaining a 3.8 GPA while working 30 hours a week and sleeping on a couch is difficult. I didn't reply to my dad's one and only text, "You can come home when you're ready to admit your problems and get help." On campus, the rumors began to circulate. All of a sudden, it seemed like everyone knew about my alleged secret existence after Lisa managed to get in touch with my former roommate from my freshman year. Someone accused me of embezzling money from the Business Students Association, which led to my removal as treasurer. I was invited to have a friendly chat, with my academic advisor over my lifestyle choices. It seemed like I was witnessing my reputation slowly deteriorate. At that point, Kyle, 24 million, entered my life. He frequently ordered the same thing at the coffee shop, a big Americano with extra shots. He genuinely spoke to me, unlike everyone else who acted as if I were radioactive. Not just coffee orders, but genuine talks. He questioned why I always appeared so exhausted one day following my work. I had no idea why, but I told him everything. Hours after closing, we sat in the deserted cafe and I told him everything. Are you aware of what he did? I believed by him. Just like that. Complete acceptance of my truth, without any doubt or debate. For the first time since this entire ordeal started, someone had just trusted me without asking for evidence or an explanation. Kyle owns his own apartment and works in IT. He helped me locate my own studio apartment after learning about my predicament with Sarah's couch. It's small, just a little bit larger than my previous bedroom, but it belongs to me. Because my credit wasn't good enough on my own, he even co-signed the lease. Slowly, our relationship grew. On movie nights, we would watch old comedy on his laptop until we fell asleep. He would bring me coffee during study sessions and listen to me rehearse my speeches. Little things that restored my sense of normalcy. I had someone on my side for the first time in months. Kyle made the proposal 3 months ago. He brought out a ring, which was simple, exquisite, and just like him, as we were eating Chinese takeout on the floor of my small flat. I instantly responded yes. I felt as though my life was finally moving in the right direction. In addition to supporting me and understanding me, Kyle was also aware of the truth about everything that had transpired with my family. I witnessed his parents' sincere happiness and enthusiasm over the video chat that evening when we contacted them to break the news. The contrast between their response and what I would anticipate from my own family really got to me. The true drama resumed at that point. Lisa somehow learned of the engagement. My phone was overflowing with texts from my stepmother and father in a matter of days. All of a sudden, they want reconciliation. Despite their discussions of family feelings, and moving forward together, none of them ever admitted that Lisa had lied. For believing her over me, hardly one expressed regret. All they wanted was for me to move on from the incident and resume my role as a happy family. Especially poignant was my father's message. Your wedding day should be about family. Don't allow pride to prevent you from inviting everyone. Does he believe this is about that? Not the fact that they effectively labeled me a drug addict and a prostitute. Not the fact that in my own house they treated me like a criminal. Not the fact that, without even giving me an opportunity to defend myself, they decided to believe Lisa's lies? Kyle proposed that we run away. Away from the drama, somewhere calm and quiet, just the two of us. To simply go away from all of this family turmoil and begin our life together without any burdens is what I want to accomplish. A part of me, however, longs for a real wedding so I can stand in front of everyone and prove to them that I made it through. That in spite of everything they did to bring me down, I managed to create a good life. Last week, I began organizing the wedding. We're planning a modest ceremony for the spring after my graduation, nothing grand. Kyle's family has been tremendously helpful, donating their backyard for the wedding and even helping with the arrangements. I always imagined that I would go dress shopping with my stepmother, and his mom accompanied me. When I found the one, a stunning A-line dress with intricate lace details, she refrained from crying. She remarked, "You look gorgeous, sweetheart." I briefly lost sight of the fact that she wasn't my biological mother. The problem with family is that sometimes the people who select you are more likely to love you than those who are meant to love you automatically. The guest list is the most difficult portion now. Kyle adds that whether or not I invite my family is completely up to me. Today is your day, he declares. You owe them nothing at all. He is correct. I am aware that he is correct. But why is it still so painful? Why do I still find myself pondering whether or not to call them while looking at my phone? I have a box of invites on my desk, some of which bear the names of my relatives. I feel nauseous every time I gaze upon them. Given how much they contributed to your suffering, how do you invite them to share in your joy? The hardest part is that I am fully aware of the consequences if I choose not to invite Lisa. My father will not attend. My stepmother will do the same. And since that's what they do, the rest of the family will most likely support them. She is always the one they pick. Always. Emma, 26F, Kyle's sister, has been my unofficial wedding planner and sane voice during this whole ordeal. She understands it differently than other people because she experienced something similar with her ex's family. She said to me, "Your wedding day is about celebrating love, not apologizing for existing." She is correct. The focus of this day should be Kyle and I, the life we are creating together, and the family we choose to be a part of instead of the one we are born into. A mother of the bride dress in a store window, a father-daughter dance song on the radio, or the blank spots in my wedding planning binder where family photos should be are just a few examples of the little things that remind me of what I've lost every time I think I've come to terms with the absence of my family. My extended family has also begun to take sides. Aunt Susan told me over the phone yesterday that family is forever, and that I must be the stronger one. In a lengthy correspondence, my uncle discussed forgiving others and moving on. My cousins have been using passive-aggressive social media posts about loyalty and blood being thicker than water. It seems as though they are all following the same script, which portrays me as the bad guy since I didn't want my abuser to attend my wedding. During those difficult months when I was juggling extra shifts and trying to maintain my grades, none of them were there. When I had to explain to lecturers why I couldn't take the holidays at home, none of them were present. When I sobbed myself to sleep, wondering what I had done to merit being treated like a criminal by my own family, none of them were present. Because Lisa is exactly that. Someone who made a concerted effort to ruin my life. She created a whole story to keep me apart from everyone I cared about, not just one falsehood. She smiled while she watched me lose our relationship with our parents, my home, and my reputation. The most annoying thing is that they still don't realize Lisa was lying, even now that my life is finally on track. I graduated with honors in spite of everything, I got a job offer from a reputable company in the city, and I married a wonderful man. My accomplishments ought to be sufficient evidence that I wasn't who she said I was. However, they can't acknowledge they were mistaken since they are so committed to her version of events. I have therefore made the decision to invite my dad and stepmother but not Lisa. With such knowledge, people are free to do as they like. I'll walk down the aisle by myself, head held high, knowing that I didn't sacrifice my dignity to maintain harmony if they choose not to attend. After all, self-respect is ultimately what this is after all. I deserve to have a wedding day free of turmoil and anxiety, but it takes more than pride or stubbornness to declare, I deserve better than this. Instead of those who have chosen to assume the worst about me without proof, I should be surrounded by people who love and support me. I'm sick of having to make all the repairs. I'm sick of taking the lead. I'm sick of acting as though my own family's systematic rejection of me didn't hurt. I'm sick of bearing the consequences of their decisions. So, for once, I'm choosing myself. Choosing genuine love over toxic familial relationships, truth over easy lies, and happiness over duty. I'm done attempting to insert myself into a story that wasn't intended to involve me in the first place, even if it means that I'm the antagonist in their tale. Am I choosing the proper path? To be honest, I have no idea. However, I'm making a decision that feels true to who I am and what I deserve for the first time since this whole nightmare started. Kyle says he's proud of me for refusing to back down, and guess what? I'm also proud of myself. The terrified young woman who packed her bags in the middle of the night has matured into a self-assured individual who recognizes her value, realizes that true love does not necessitate putting up with abuse, and has the courage to put her own pleasure ahead of other people's expectations. Perhaps the freedom to finally be that person is the true wedding present I'm giving myself. First update. I wish I could say that things had improved since my last post, which was 6 months ago, but life has a way of catching you off guard. Everything changed when Lisa's ex-boyfriend sent me a message last month. He messaged me on Facebook and said he wanted to share something significant with me regarding the gossip Lisa was spreading. I hesitated to answer at first. Kyle and I were content to concentrate on our wedding preparations, and I've worked hard to put all the drama behind us. However, what he revealed to me clarified and exacerbated the suffering. Lisa apparently had a total breakdown after a fight with her now ex-boyfriend a few weeks ago after getting wasted at a party. She came clean about everything, including the fact that she made up all the stories that I was a drug addict and prostitute. Why? She felt that I was receiving too much attention from men at her college, which made her envious? That's all. She was jealous of the fictitious attention I allegedly received from boys at her school, which is why she ruined my relationship with my family. I didn't even go to that school. Hours passed while I sat there looking at his messages, feeling like I might pass out. Screenshots of their text exchanges, in which she had revealed everything, were sent by her ex. He even volunteered to be honest with my parents if I asked him to. To be honest though, I no longer give a damn. The harm has been done. Kyle just held me while I sobbed when I showed him the messages. I was angry, not because I was depressed. 3 years of my life, 3 years of my own family treating me like a criminal. For 3 years, I doubted myself and had to start again because my stepsister was envious. I believed that having evidence would help me feel better. I believed that there would be some sort of closure if I knew the truth. Rather, it only served to highlight how little my family actually cared for me. They made the decision to accept these baseless charges in the absence of proof. Because Lisa said so, they cut me off, tossed me out, and treated me like I had no value. This is where the situation becomes even more intricate. Lisa discovered that her ex had gotten in touch with me somehow. All of a sudden, my family started bombarding my phone with calls and texts. My stepmother emailed paragraphs about family healing and forgiveness, and my dad left a lengthy voicemail saying that Lisa is really sorry and that she's been going through a lot. The worst part. In fact, none of them expressed regret. Instead, they are promoting the idea that Lisa was troubled, and that she needs her family now more than ever. There is not a single "I'm sorry for not believing you" or "we were wrong." In relation to Kyle, I discovered that I never fully explained how we got together. About 6 months after leaving home, it happened during one of my darkest moments. After staying up all night to finish a paper, I was working the morning shift at the coffee shop, barely getting 3 hours of sleep. Every morning, Kyle arrived for his customary large Americano with additional shots. He did, however, note how worn out I appeared that day. He inquired about my well-being rather than simply taking his coffee and walking away, as most patrons do. Right there at the desk, I started crying because of his sincere concern. Julie, my manager, noticed what was going on and instructed me to take an early break. For an hour, Kyle sat with me in the deserted cafe and listened to me tell him everything. He gave me his phone at the end of my break and instructed me to call him if I ever needed someone to talk to. It was weeks before I used it. I struggled with trust after everything that happened with my family. However, I eventually called one evening after receiving yet another guilt-tripping text from my dad. Until dawn, we conversed. The thing about Kyle is that he never pushed or passed judgment. All he did was listen and encourage me. When I was unable to continue living on Sarah's couch, he assisted me in finding my first apartment. When my parents cut me off, I had to drop out for a semester, which damaged my credit, so he even co-signed the lease. In order to return to school, he assisted me in applying for grants and student loans. We were just buddies for months. He would check my assignments, assist me in practicing presentations for my business classes, and even bring me coffee while I studied in the library. Friendship gradually evolved into something more. Of all things, we were reviewing my business ethics assignment when we shared our first kiss. Kyle gave me the impression that I had everything I needed, even though I was living in a small studio apartment and barely making ends meet between work and classes. He demonstrated for me what true support looks like and what it's like to be appreciated for who you are rather than what someone else wants you to be. The drama of the wedding followed. Last week, my dad gave me a call and said he would want to escort me down the aisle, but only if I included Lisa. She's really changed, and it would mean so much to her to be there, he said. It's all about Lisa's feelings once more. Requirements of Lisa. Lisa's joy. At last, I lost it. I expressed my feelings to him in detail, including his conditional love, his repeated preference for Lisa over me, and his willingness to let her ruin my life without ever challenging her claims. I advised him that perhaps he shouldn't attend my wedding at all if Lisa's attendance meant more to him than being there for his daughter. It wasn't warmly received by him. When I refused to back down, Dad threatened to not attend the wedding without Lisa, claiming that I was tearing the family apart, and that I needed to let go of the past. My stepmother supported him by stating that real family forgives and forgets, and that they are a package deal. Kyle's family has been tremendously helpful in the interim. Last weekend, his parents hosted a simple backyard cookout for our engagement, complete with close friends and family. His dad gave a moving speech that brought everyone to tears, and his mom created this lovely photo montage of our friendship. Yes, even Kyle. Seeing them so really celebrate our love opened my eyes to what true family support looks like. Plans for the wedding. After removing all the drama, the wedding preparations are progressing rather nicely. We discovered the ideal location for the reception, a tiny garden featuring an old-fashioned greenhouse. In an effort to give me something to pass on to our future children, Kyle's mother has been teaching me their family recipes. Through all of this, his sister Emma, who will be my maid of honor, has been incredible. She has shared her personal experiences with toxic family members and has helped me realize that it's acceptable to put my mental health above my responsibilities to my family. I had my last dress fitting last week. Along with my best friend Sarah, Kyle's mother and sister were present. I didn't miss Lisa or my stepmother when I put on the dress and looked in the mirror with other women who truly cared about me. Rather, I was appreciative of the family I had chosen and the one that had chosen me in return. Because he has demonstrated to me what unconditional parental love looks like, Kyle's father will accompany me down the aisle, not because he is taking my father's place. The list of guests is short but significant. All of the attendees have supported me at my darkest moments. Relocating to Seattle after the wedding, we're relocating to Seattle for Kyle's new work. The relocation is being assisted by his firm, and we have already located an apartment. It's a new beginning in every sense of the word. A new town, a new city, and new employment prospects. Above all, it's far enough away that we won't have to worry about bumping into my relatives at the neighborhood coffee shop or grocery store. Sometimes the future we are planning seems like a dream. As we make plans for when we are both stable in our careers, we have started looking at homes in the Seattle suburbs. Kyle talks of one day starting a family and creating the kind of household we both hoped we had as children. It's simultaneously thrilling, frightening, and ideal. I blocked my entire family on all platforms yesterday, including social media, email, and phone numbers, something I should have done years ago. No more messages that make you feel guilty. No more playing with emotions. No more justifications like, but she's family. The truthful response to the question of whether I miss my family is yes. However, I miss the family I believed I had rather than the one that is real. Instead of the father who decided to assume I was a drug addict without any evidence, I miss the father who taught me how to ride a bike. Instead of going through my belongings in search of proof of crimes I never committed, I mourn the stepmother who used to assist me with my homework. Blood is thicker than water, I'm being harsh, and I'll regret this choice, several extended family members have been contacting me to say. But what do you know? The only thing I think I'll regret is squandering so many years attempting to win the affection of people who would never have chosen me in the first place. Last week the invites were sent out without my stepmother's, dad's, or Lisa's names. Even though there aren't many individuals on the guest list, they all genuinely care about me. Individuals that supported me when my own family refused to. People who unconditionally love me. My self-respect is compromised by those who encourage me without expecting anything in return. In my most recent post, someone asked if I ever considered what would have happened if I had simply forgave and moved on. The fact is, I do occasionally consider it. However, I then recall Lisa's sly smile as I was leaving the house that evening. I recall that without any proof, my father decided to assume the worst about me. I recall my stepmother treating me like a criminal, rummaging through my belongings, and phoning my place of employment. Now that I know that it was all due to Lisa's jealousy, that she deliberately attempted to ruin my life because she felt I was receiving too much attention, it only serves to affirm that I was correct to cut them off. Kyle asserts that I underestimate my own strength. He might be correct. I was the terrified girl who slept on a friend's couch 3 years ago, wondering if I would ever feel normal again. I'm now getting married to a wonderful man, starting a career, graduating with honors, and finally experiencing what true family love is like. To the one who inquired as to whether I worry about regrets, I do occasionally. However, I'm more concerned about the guilt I would experience if I allowed my family to continue to control and harm me. Walking away from individuals who only love us when it suits them is sometimes the bravest thing we can do. I'm now satisfied with the way things have worked out, and our wedding is in 6 weeks. It's not the wedding I envisioned as a child. No mother of the bride speech, no father-daughter dance, and no large family portraits with everyone dressed alike will take place. However, it will be genuine. There will be someone there who supported me, who had faith in me, who had chosen me. Fixing a family that never truly wanted to be healed is something I'm done with. I'm tired of having to be the one who must understand, forgive, and put everyone else's sentiments ahead of my own. I'm tired of being Lisa's backup daughter, the one who is only valuable when she doesn't require attention. Since I really don't have anything more to say, this is my final update. Lisa is no longer the subject of my story. It has nothing to do with my stepmother, father, or the family that didn't pick me. It has to do with the family Kyle and I are creating. About the love I discovered in the most unlikely locations. About the strength I was unaware I possessed. In 6 weeks, I will tie the knot with a man who truly loves me. For the first time in years, I'm not anxiously waiting for the other shoe to drop as we begin a new life in a new place. All I'm doing is living, loving, and at last, being free. I want to express my gratitude to everyone who has supported me and followed my path. Your words of support gave me the courage to defend my position. Additionally, it's acceptable to leave if you're dealing with toxic family members. Making your own decision is acceptable. Finding happiness on your own terms is okay. There are instances when the family we build is more authentic than the one we are born into. And it's not just acceptable. It's stunning. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.